A late good afternoon, almost 5:30. Hey, we had a dry day. Look at us. We'll start with the setting sun late today from the Portland Spirit Landing, downtown Portland, the Willamette River, and the Tillicum Crossing. There's the Portland Spirit, part of my 18 live camera network. Again, you can find all those camera views and a lot of the images I'm going to be showing you off of my weather site, portlandweather.com. Today, not bad after that chilly start. Warmer than I thought we'd be this afternoon. I had us in the low 40s. Instead, Portland went 47. Vancouver 49 at Pearson Airfield, Salem 46. Most of us were freezing this morning, but not as cold overall as what the projection was. Now, with that said, there were some cold spots. Hillsboro dropped down to 23 this morning. That actually started to go up. That was in the middle of the night. It started to rise before the sunrise hours. But again, Hillsboro, of the main reporting sites I look at, was a cold spot at 23 degrees. Okay, our dry weather is about over because we have this guy, a cold front coming in tomorrow morning into Portland about 9 o'clock in the morning up and down the I-5 corridor. You see the elongated band of clouds with that. A decent little front. Looks like valley rainfall. The projections of the models anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to 4/10 of an inch. The front comes in early in the morning, 9 a.m. You would expect there to be some pretty good rain at that time and some decent rain on the radar when you get up earlier in the morning. Also some gusty winds. Could be some 45-mile-per-hour winds picking up at the coast overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. And then as that front comes into Portland, at least some winds from the south-southwest, maybe gusting 30 to 35. The front then passes, and the afternoon will be more like west winds 10 to 20. Snow levels on average are going to be 1,500 feet, which is what I've been saying. The winds will be south to west, kind of a south-southwest flow ahead of the front and then west behind it. No signs of an east wind with this, no signs of anything I think that would force snow levels down. So if you live at low elevations here in the valley, I think most of us are going to be mid-30s. Wouldn't be shocked if we have a lot of folks stay like 36, 37. Wouldn't be totally surprised if it's even warmer than that in the morning, but we'll see. Now, with that said, there are still some things to keep a heads up on. The National Weather Service, here's their warning map for tonight and tomorrow. And in blue, a winter weather advisory, basically for sticking snow for the Coast Range, the Cascade foothill communities of the west flank of the mountains. And then in the kind of salmon color, that's actually a winter storm warning for upper elevations in some of the hills of Clark into Skamania and up into Cowlitz counties, okay? But again, even in the Coast Range, to me, the snow level's going to be above 1,000 feet, maybe closer to 1,500. 3 to 6 inches in the Coast Range would impact Highway 6 and Highway 26, the highest passes going into the North Coast. The Cascade foothill communities, I mean, I don't want you to be shocked if you live somewhere around 1,000 feet and you get some sticking snow in the morning, but I think generally, too, this is going to be above 1,000 feet. It just kind of depends on the timing of everything. If you would get some snow on the ground in places like Sandy, Hawkinson, the hills outside of Estacada, for example, Boring, you would melt that, I think, fairly rapidly during the days. Your temperatures would be warming up. So just kind of an FYI on all of that. Okay. I tell you what, one thing that's crazy. This is the first day of March, right? First day of March. If you look at the patterns down the road, nearly every single weather front that comes in the coming weeks shows a snow level no higher than 2,000 feet. And most of them show snow levels lower than 2,000 feet. I mean, that would be a cold outlook even for the month of January. And here we are March 1st. So that's kind of crazy. So again, tomorrow, 1,500-foot snow level. Friday, closer to 1,000. Saturday, about 1,200 feet. If you live in low elevations of the I-5 corridor, that's rain, rain, rain. And then we actually have the front tomorrow and then occasional rain on Friday. Friday is a much wetter day than I was thinking. I was thinking we would be kind of in between. It would be pretty dry, but now it looks like we get occasional shots of rain coming through. Saturday's another front. And again, that front is in the morning hours. That's the best bet of, hey, it's really wet outside with some breezy winds. But then that's it for weather fronts for a while. What happens Sunday and Monday with snow levels back down to about 500 feet in this cold pattern is that we'll be just sitting in a cold, broad trough of low pressure. That typically will fuel some sun breaks, building up scattered showers during the day. That could pull down some cold air, bring some snowflakes, a wintry mix, and maybe even some hail. So we'll continue to watch that. And with these low snow levels returning Sunday, Monday into next week, kind of what I've been saying, during the heat of the day, the snow level is probably closer to 1,000 feet on average, maybe a little bit higher even. But then in the middle of the night and early morning, if you get a heavy shower coming through, the snow level can get pretty close to sea level. Okay. Remember what happened, back on Tuesday, actually, with the snow we had down in Corvallis and Salem and those areas. But I don't see any actual weather system coming in these days. It would just be more broad scattered showers. And sometimes those days that are just cold with convection are actually pretty quiet in the morning. We don't really see much build until we get the daytime heating, and then things start to pick up late morning into the afternoon. So we'll see. Okay, it is March 1st. Let's talk outlook. The National Weather Service and NOAA coming out with their March projections. Every single weather model you look at shows the same, that we are in for a below normal, chilly March, much like we've been seeing with low snow levels, surprisingly low at times, okay? We're kind of in, I mean, they put out the bullseye for coldest here in the west over Idaho and up into parts of Montana, but we're certainly in the considerable high confidence area, Oregon and Washington. In terms of precipitation, kind of right on the equal chances, which means not really sure. Keep in mind, February had a high number of days of measurable precipitation, but it's going to go into the books with only about 2.5 inches of total water for Portland, and that's more than an inch below normal, about 1.25 inches or so below normal. We saw this in January too, a high number of days with measurable precip, a number of fronts that looked pretty juicy, but at the end of the day, a lot of these fronts underperformed. Days that we thought we'd get 1/2 inch, we got 0.2 inches, that type of thing. That could happen again in March, so we'll keep an eye on that. I do think a good projection for the mean temperature for us locally would be for the 31 days of March to average out 4 degrees below normal. Now, that may not sound like much. I mean, normal right now is 54. Well, we hit 50. What's the big deal, right? But I will tell you, when you're doing outlook forecasting, considering what the low and the high averages over a period of 30, 31 days, anything that's 3 degrees departure is considered notable, okay? You definitely notice that. That was a cold month. And I think we'll be better than that at 4 degrees colder than normal. So we'll see. Let's stick with this talk real quick about a chilly March. Since it's the first of the month, it's a good time to do outlook work, right? So this is the European model, the pressure heights aloft the forecasters look at to identify the weather flow and kind of help identify the cold pools of air as well. So this is Monday of next week, March 6th. And you see the blue kind of purple colors. That's a cold trough that will be setting in that I talked about with those convective scattered showers firing up. No real weather systems expected to come in. Now, these can produce little disturbances that aren't showing up right now. If we would get a pretty good disturbance in the middle of the night, early morning, that would heighten the chance of dropping temperatures down maybe Monday morning, Tuesday morning, 32, and getting some sticking snow. But we'd warm up to 40 plus during the day. Anyway, what's interesting here is see the kind of brightened blue line? That's a 540 pressure height. As forecasters, we identify the main jet stream flow to be a 564 pressure high. Okay, that would be for us typical stuff coming in off the Pacific. You know, overnight lows well above normal, or well above freezing, maybe 40 degrees, rain during the day, that type of thing. Normal. Now, when you take the 564 number and you decrease it to a 546 number, 546, now that's a pressure height for the polar jet. Remember, this is 540, and we're north of that. So we're going to be north of the polar jet. That means we're in the coldest sector of the hemisphere in terms of available cold air, if you will. And what's always also interesting about this is, see where the lines are closer together over the San Francisco Bay Area? That's where the main jet stream flow is. So if this is correct, and I'm seeing this a lot in the systems I'm tracking over the coming couple of weeks, we saw this in January, we saw it last month. The main jet stream flow patterns are taking the big bucket loads of rain, the big bucket loads of mountain snow into California. We get a decent bit of it, but not nearly as much as California gets. That may continue in the month of March. Now, this is interesting. I would not expect this to come true because it's April 4th, but it's interesting that it even shows up. April 4th, cold low. There's that 540 blue contour. The position of this low is just to our south off of the coast. If this turned out to be exactly true, we would get an east wind on top of this low. That would put us into the snow zone. So remember last spring, we had that record for the latest snowfall, measurable snowfall in the month of April? Question mark, could we challenge that record and get some measurable snowfall this coming April again? I mean, right now the weather pattern suggests it's at least something to watch and something that would be a possibility. Okay, let me wrap this up real quick. If you're interested in the mountain snow projections, 6 to 8 tomorrow, 4 to 6 Friday, 5 to 8 Saturday, more like sun and flurries, and 1 to 3 on Sunday and Monday. The snow level is pretty much what we've been talking about. You can find this on my Mount Hood ski page. Also, there's great travel cameras from ODOT on that page, including the Siskiyou Summit, Santiam, Willamette Pass, Government Camp, all those cameras. So that's good information. Thank you, Hillcrest, for sponsoring that. And then my 7-day forecast for the Portland metro area. So rain tomorrow. I'm keeping our low at 36 in the morning, high 45. Friday, 35 to 43. Obviously, these are well below normal temperatures. Again, normal is 38 and 54 for crying out loud. So, I mean, these are low enough temperatures that you should keep yourself updated on the forecast, especially at night and early morning if you're going to go out. But right now, with a westerly flow, a south to westerly flow, I feel pretty good that it should just be nothing but rain at low elevations Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Then Sunday, we get into that more nondescript flow pattern that fuels some convection. I mentioned Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I give us a chance to be down around freezing all 3 of these days with a mix of wintry showers. I don't expect a lot of total precipitation here, but certainly some scattered stuff. And that is my update. So I hope you had a great day. Welcome to March. So far, it looks like it's going to come in. Are you ready? Like a lion, roar! And it may not go out like a lamb. Remember that cold April map I showed you. Thanks for subscribing and using my site. I'll talk to you soon.